want to welcome everyone to our day. Our program is very exciting today. We have, that's like a little rah-rah in the background for us. In addition to introducing our summer course offerings and unveiling the location of our deal program, we are extremely excited for today's event. The title of it, Sinai Synergy, delving into the event that forever unites us, is particularly exciting to me because when we chose this title, it evoked one of my favorite Rashis in the whole Torah. Sinai Synergy, the moment that we all came together, the moment that forever unites us. Probably the most famous Rashi that everybody has ever learned and knows about is the one that talks about Matan Torah, that talks about the time that we all came together as a people. It says in Parashat Yitro, Vayichan Sham Yisrael Neged Hahar. And we know so famously that the Bnei Israel encamped together, Neged Hahar. It says Vayichan Lashon Yachid. They encamped, as if one person encamped. Why does it say it that way? So Rashi then explains why were Klal Yisrael like one person at that time? Because they all came together. Ke'ish echad, belev echad, like one man with one heart. And we know that, and we feel that, and we love that. But not many people care to know, remember, read further in the Rashi, where it says, you ready? Aval, kol sha'ar hachanayot, bitaromet uvimachloket. The rest of the encampments that Klal Yisrael had were with disagreements, were with complaints, were with conflicting opinions. And it's so interesting to me. Why do I love that part? Because just as the beginning is telling us a tremendous ma'alah, tremendous advantage that Klal Yisrael had, that they came together, the second part of the Rashi is equally important. It says that as a people, historically, we have always been individuals. We have always been different from one another. We have always had fiery opinions. We weren't afraid to argue about them. We weren't afraid to voice them. We weren't afraid to show our differences. And yet, in that one magical moment that we came together and agreed, that was the moment of Matan Torah. How beautiful that both our individuality and our unity are celebrated in this way. It's something that we do well to remember here at the Well, because that's what this place is all about. It's about each woman choosing to express herself through the choices of course that she follows, through the choices of option of how she's going to develop herself as a human being. Everyone can find something different here. Everybody can find the thing that makes them tick. And everybody can use this place as a vehicle to explore who they are and what makes them individual. And then we come together to pursue greatness through this most holy legacy. The beginning of this week was Pesach Sheni. And Pesach Sheni's story is very interesting. Those who were not in a spiritual place to bring a korban at the proper time, a korban Pesach, they have another opportunity. And that was in the beginning of this week, a month later in Iyar. They could bring a korban now. They could, second chance at korban Pesach. We look at the other holidays, we don't have second chances. You can't blow a shofar a month later. You can't sit in a booth a month after Sukkot. So how did this come about? It was a group of people who weren't there yet when it was Pesach. They were tameh. They were spiritually unready to bring a korban. But what did they do? They didn't just accept their status quo. They didn't just take where they were and say, okay, listen, we couldn't bring a korban. What am I supposed to do? That's just how it was. They went over and they said, Lama nigara? Why should we miss out? Why should we be less? Just because we didn't have the opportunity spiritually, because we weren't ready, that means we should never have the opportunity. We should wait around till next year and maybe we'll be okay then. I don't want to settle for less, they said. I want an opportunity to do that mitzvah. So they got the opportunity to do the mitzvah. They got a second chance. They got the gift of Pesach Sheni. That teaches us that when we don't want to settle, when we want more out of who we are, that call to greatness, is given to us and it is answered, we're given greatness. Those who want more are given more. My two unbelievable partners, one of whom is walking out of the room right now, Kim Dabin. It's Kim's father's yard site today. Just found out. I didn't know your father, Kim, but when I look at you, I have to think that I could get a little bit of what he was and an understanding of his purpose, because you're a person who doesn't settle. And you're a person who always wants more. And you've enabled so many women through this unbelievable place to be more, to do more, to demand more of themselves. And that's why we're all here. And I have the zechut to introduce Gail Sassoon. To know her is to understand that a human being is so much more than we can imagine a human to be. She demands more of herself than anyone can ever understand. And so being with her and having the privilege to be around her calls us to demand more of ourselves. And meeting that call is why we're here today. And every time we walk into the doors of the well, we can say, I'm doing this because I want to be more.
I followed many speakers in my life. I never followed anything like that. I'm not really sure what to say. I'm usually supposed to know what to say. I'm not really sure what to say. But Gail, I'll say this. When it happened, our whole community turned upside down. Our whole community turned upside down. The most famous speech I ever gave in my life was actually about this. Chai Lifeline did an event, and we spoke. And the whole community was inspired, but on hold. The whole community was inspired and waiting to see how you would be. Because so many knew you, and they waited to see what's Gail going to be, what kind of reaction she's going to have. And the strength that you have that almost no other human beings in the world do is something that for some reason God decided that you should be his messenger to strengthen and inspire hundreds of thousands of people, most of which you'll probably never meet. People across the world. Because there's not an observant Jew on the planet who doesn't know the story. There's not an observant Jew on the planet who wasn't inspired from the story. Not in the community, not in the state, not in the country, on the whole planet. So Hashem puts us on this world really not for how long. You know, people like to say old age. Hashem doesn't put us here for old age. Hashem, 120 is a nice statement to say, but that's not really what Hashem puts us here for. He puts us here for a purpose. And Hashem puts us here to accomplish. And your children accomplished an unbelievable amount in the years that Hashem decided to give them. Both what they did and both from what they inspired. And again, I don't know how you read those Ani Ma'amins, because there are people in this room who, when something goes, I can speak for myself, when something goes, I got a little email last night that I was annoyed about, and I was mad. An email that someone wanted me to do something that I didn't want to do for 2 hours, and I was mad. So, to put that in perspective, the faith that you have through the pain and through that you've endured is something unreal. So sometimes when you look back at great people and you say, did David HaMelech want to deal with that? Did Yaakov Avinu want to go through all that? And you say, there's no way they ever did. But if they had ever known, if they knew then what they would inspire and how many millions of people from them would grow because of them, they probably would have said, I can't believe that God chose them. So what you inspired, what you are inspiring, is something, again, it's insane. There's no person who is the same. Just like the world will always remember 9/11 as a time that changed the world forever, and nothing in America is the same since 9/11. Well, nothing in this community is the same since that Rosh Chodesh day. So we always think about it. We're always inspired from it. We're always weakened from it and strengthened from it. And so our hope and beracha is that this wonderful well, which has so much beauty in it. I thought I was going to walk in and walk around after the speech. I got a chance to walk through it before the speech. Just the lines on the wall, the colors of the doors and the rooms, the feeling that you feel when you walk in, and just that sense of where a girl or a woman can feel so at home and so welcomed and so warm and so wonderful and so beautiful. It's an unbelievable thing that you're doing in the memory of your children. And you mentioned my sister before. My sister Chani has an unbelievable amount of love for you, and she was so involved as the stages were happening. She just kept saying, Joe, you don't understand the strength. Joe, you don't understand the strength. I'll be like, Chani, why are you going again? You don't understand the strength. You don't understand the strength. You don't understand the person that this is. Joe, you're just not understanding. I'm like, come on, Khan, we're my parents' house. It's the summer. Khan, Joe, you're just not understanding. You're not appreciating what this is. And the truth is, I don't fully appreciate it, and I do, but every time I hear another person mention the well, and 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 another person mention the well, I can't even believe it. 5 years ago, Rabbi Yedid and I sat in a meeting with a bunch of men, and we spoke about an idea of making something for women. And then we said, it's so huge, and it's so daunting, and I don't even know which direction it would go. We kind of said, forget it. And then all of a sudden, this well idea came about, and this unbelievable trio of Gail, Kim, and Mrs. Weinberg, the three of you together have just such a power, such a strength. It's so creative. The ability to do classes in different ages and different groups and different styles and different backgrounds, and you can do a computer program where you can bake something. I mean, my family told me, Joey, I'm coming not for you, I'm coming for Claudia Balderici. It's just the whole energy that's in this building is something that's so fantastic. And so B'ezrat Hashem, it really should be a wellspring of beracha, a wellspring of every girl and every woman in this community. B'ezrat Hashem should walk through these doors often. And every woman and every girl should be inspired, should grow, should see you. Just all they have to do is see you once and get the strength and get the inspiration and get the power that is in this wonderful institution. And B'ezrat Hashem, it should have many, many years of more programs and more ideas and more concepts and more backgrounds and more girls. And our community is so diverse and has so many different people. And B'ezrat Hashem, you'll be able to reach every single one of you through this beracha, through this well. Amen. And today is in memory of the Yortzeit of Jack Ajmi. And I knew him a little bit. As a young boy, grew up in Deal. I watched as he got involved in Deal Shul and transformed the Shul. And, you know, when you're a kid, you don't realize what you're taking in. Something funny. You don't realize, you're just around the community, you get used to things. And you don't realize how much you're digesting in your head. And so much of leadership and so much of change. I mean, Jack got involved, took over the Deal Shul, revitalized the whole place from external beauty to internal inspiration and Torah. It became this unbelievable thing. And that was the one project that I got a chance to see his strength and what he can do. And the truth is, his children really have, you mentioned before that his children really have a lot of him in them. They're so community-minded, so growth-minded. And B'ezrat Hashem, his name will always be a name that's synonymous with building the future of our community. Amen. Now I think I'm supposed to give a class, right? I don't remember what it's about even. All I know is that they said, put something on Instagram. I was like, put something on Instagram. And then they say, Rabbi Yaakov Hillel did. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to say? So I see Rabbi Yaakov Hillel on Instagram. I said, okay. So little does he know, it's a whole mikubal on Instagram. But anyhow, so my assistant came into my office on Friday and said, no, do another take. No, do another take. I cleaned off my bookshelves, made sure it looked neat and organized, and did our topic. And hopefully, B'ezrat Hashem will have a chance to be inspired. It was a good video, right? I said the truth is the video is more important than the class. Because no matter how many people come to the class, way more people are going to see the video. So it's scary, right or wrong? Like I was like, I don't know. And then yesterday, my assistant said, look, it came out. Let me show it to you. I looked at it for a second. I'm like, ooh, I look terrible. So I did my best. I don't know if Instagram is my thing, but we did our best. And it was an honor to do that. Because just to be able to get that word out of just in a second of what the well is doing, even to the people that are here and to the hundreds and thousands that aren't here today, was something I felt honored to do. Okay, now how much time do I have?
As much as you want. Just go. How much do you want?
Just go, 20 minutes, half hour? Just go? At least a half hour? Okay, good. At least 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. There are so many people who have this thought process about our religion, that all it is restrictions. Yeah, God throws us a bone every now and then, gives us a Friday night dinner, but other than that, it's just restrictions. And if you don't think 613 is enough, the rabbis came along and added a zillion more. Don't touch this. Don't look at that. Don't be alone with this. Don't be near that. Don't move that. Don't get near that. Like, I have one that kids ask me all the time. Rabbi, you're not allowed to swim in the ocean on Shabbat because you might build a raft. Come on, Rabbi. You're serious? Anybody, I don't even know what a raft looks like. Anybody building a raft? Is it ever going to happen that it's going to build a raft? And so many other things. You don't trust me? If I'm going to be alone with somebody who thinks something, you don't trust me? Is that really how it is? You really don't trust me? I don't get it. So what inspired this class is about a month ago, I was in someone's house for Friday night dinner, and they like to use as an opportunity. Their family's close to my family. And so one of their kids started asking me questions, and then it's just gotten this whole stream of questions, and one after another after another. Why do we do this? And why do we do this? And why do we do this? And why do we do this? I said, I realize that so many people don't, they know, I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know today, but in our being, I'm not sure we fully appreciate what we're going to say today. And my goal today is for you to never, ever look at a restriction again the same. Let me read to you a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. We like to focus on Pirkei Avot during this time. Ben Azai Omer. Ben Azai says this statement, and it's going to sound repetitive, so I know it sounds repetitive in advance. Heveratz the mitzvah kala kebachamura. Run to a small mitzvah like it's a big one. Uboreach min avera, and run away from a sin. Shemitzvah goreret mitzvah, because one sin causes another. Va'avera goreret avera, and one avera causes another. Sheschar mitzvah mitzvah, because the reward of a mitzvah is a mitzvah, and the schar avera, and the reward for an avera is an avera. Doesn't it sound like a lot of the same thing? I got the idea. One leads to another. What's all these words? Run away from this, and make sure you don't do this, and then this leads to mitzvot, lead to other mitzvot, and averot lead to other averot, and then the reward of a mitzvah is a mitzvah, I don't even know what that means, and then the reward of an averah is another averah. What does that mean? So I want to try to explain this. You ready for something tough? Can you stomach something tough? Yes? Okay. If I went over to your 3-year-old son and said, tell you this would be nice. If I went over to him and said, hi, how are you? It's his name, Ike. Ike, I'm just telling you, 10 years from now, you're going to be cursing 30 times a day. What would you say? There's mothers in this room right now who want to put soap in my mouth. That they're so mad, right? Isn't that disgusting to say? Are you looking at me like, isn't that nuts? Isn't that horrible? Isn't that ridiculous? Yes, isn't it? You could say. Yes? It's a ridiculous statement for me to say. If I would go over to your 3-year-old son and say that in 10 years from now, you're going to curse 30 times a day, you say, Rabbi, what are you saying? Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying the facts. Because the fact is 90% chance that he's going to. Because here's how it works. Third grade, when they're 2 and 3 and 7 and 8. Ooh, bad word. Maybe the mother, like I said, puts a little something. Never, never, never. They're in 4th grade. They hear one person say it once. It's like, oh, I can't believe it. No, you can't say that. That's terrible. In 5th grade, they hear their friends say it once. In 6th grade, one night, they're leaving their parents' room, and they hear their father very mad. And they hear what they think sounds like one of those words. In 7th grade, they're stuck in a friend's house on a Saturday night whose parents aren't paying attention, and they watch a movie that has words they can't believe they're hearing. In 8th grade, they get mad once, and they drop the word once, and they can't believe they said it. But they said it. And then, in 9th grade, they hang out a bunch of boys, and they start saying it over and over again. And now he realizes, I'm not going to be the only guy who doesn't say it. And by 10th grade, he's saying it 30 times a day. Because the way the world works is very simple. Things lead to things. Everything in life is like this. Things lead to things. Let me tell you how it happens. Because what happens is, a person who would never say a bad word is not the same as someone who says it once. And someone who says it once isn't the same as someone who says it twice. And someone who says it twice isn't the same as someone who says it 5 times. And someone who says it 5 isn't the same as someone who says it 10. And someone who says it 10 isn't the same as someone who says it 10 times a day. And someone who says it 10 times a day isn't the same as someone who says it 30 times a day. So when he's still in the 0 mode, he can't envision that. Because now all of a sudden he says it once. Now he's the guy who says it once. And so he's one step closer to the guy who says it twice. And now the guy who says it twice is one step closer to the next level. And that level is one step closer to the next level. And like this, it happens. Not understanding this rule is one of the more important rules of life. Things lead to things. That's how it is. I'm saying it as simple and as basic language as possible. Things lead to things. If you don't recognize that things lead to things, you're not paying attention to the way the world works. I'll give you one example of how dramatic this is. If I took this piece of paper and folded it once, how high would it be? This high, right? Good. How high would it be if I folded it 50 times? How high would it be, do you think? Give a guess. I'll take guesses. How high do you think the paper would be? This big? That big. If I folded the paper once, then I folded it again, and then I folded it again, 50 times. Anyone else? Any other options? Any other options? Any other options? Any opinions? Give me something. Give me some opinion. Come on. What? 1 inch. If I folded the paper over and over again 50 times, it would be an inch. Okay, she said 2 inches. Anyone else have any other higher bids? Any other bids? Does anyone go on higher? I got 3. Do I hear 4? Do I hear 4? Yes or no? Okay, fair. But let's say I could fold it 50 times. You're right, it wouldn't. But let's say I was able to do it. I had a very large paper and I could fold it 50 times. Should I tell you how high it would be? It would be from here to the moon. That's the truth. From here to the moon. I'm not exaggerating. Because first it's 2, and then 4, and then 8, and then 16, and then 32, and then 64, and then where am I at? 128, and then it's 256, and then it's 512, and then it's 1,000 and something, and that's only 10 times. And now you do that again 20 times, you're in the millions. And 30 times, you're in the billions. And 40 times, you're in the trillions. And 50 times, I don't know what goes into that. But it's unbelievable amount of pages. But you say when you're folding it, you fold it the first time, you can't envision that. You don't realize that things lead to things. That's really how the world works. I've gotten this one all the time. You know, the rabbis say bike on Shabbat could be a problem because you might fix the chain. You've ever heard that one? Fix the chain. If it breaks, you might fix the chain. You've heard that one? And you're like, come on, I'm not fixing the chain. I know not to fix the chain. I'm a good guy. I won't fix the chain. Here's my comment to you. I want you to envision yourself. You're 17 years old, and you tell your parents, I prayed early minyan, I'm going to play ball. I live in Lock Arbor. I'm going to play ball in Ocean Avenue at the end, near Lawrence Avenue Shul. You following me? Your mother says, no, you understand, Grandma's coming over for lunch. You have to go for lunch. I'll be back by lunch. Don't worry. Grandma's coming to lunch. I'll be back by lunch. I promise. So come on. I'm telling you, you shouldn't be going. You know you shouldn't be going. I got it, Ma. If you don't get back by lunch, I'm going to have your head. Good. Kid rides all the way to his friend's house on Lawrence Avenue. Okay? And all of a sudden, right when he gets there, the chain breaks. He asks his friend, can I borrow your bike? No, you can't borrow my bike because I need it for the afternoon. I got to get home. Hashem doesn't mind if, since my grandma's coming over and it's Kibbud Avayim and I'm supposed to do it, it's a mitzvah to fix the chain. So you're right. When you're not there and you're not in the circumstance, just theoretically, of course, I'll never do it. But the reality is, you will. There's another one, another law. They tell us that a man and a woman are not allowed to be alone in a room. And every time someone learns that law for the first time, they're like, really? You don't trust me? God, I'm a good person. I'm a religious Jew. I do the right thing. I'm a person of integrity. You don't trust me? So I want you to tell me something about this guy. This man was his class president in high school, went to a rigorous prep school. He was the hospital corpsman in the Marines. Doesn't he sound like a good guy? You agree? He sounds like a good guy. Really sounds like a good guy. Should I tell you his name? I don't know if I should mention in this holy place. But his name is Bill Cosby. Okay? My point, how about this man whose name, his mother is Jewish, was a math whiz, did great on his SATs. His name even sounds like ours. His last name is Franco. His first name, yes, is somebody who was one of those people on the Me Too. And you know how that happened? How did it happen? It's a bunch of people who you think they all started off bad. No, it's a bunch of people who didn't know this simple, basic rule. Things lead to things. It's the way the world works. There's no way around it. If you're human, that's how it is. So Hashem says to us, and the truth is the whole world knows about it today, because you can't go into a school anymore, or you can't go into an office building without windows and the doors. Because everybody now is realizing what our rabbis realized 2,000 years ago. That don't try, trust me. No, I don't trust anybody. When I moved into my house in New Jersey 20 years ago in Lakewood, this is a true story. I should not admit this out loud, but it's a true story. I walked in the night I moved in. You know when you move in, like all of a sudden you realize there's no food in the house and you need to get some snack? So I was pretty young then, so I would just get snack and soda and all that from some local store. And in that store, it had a whole rack of inappropriate magazines. I said, I'm not walking into the store again. And now you're going to say, come on, Rabbi. You think you're ever going to do something? You're a rabbi learning in Kollel in Lakewood. It's like the holiest town on the planet. You really think things lead to things. And if you want to be smart, you know how to avoid it in advance. I want to even give you the swimming example. So I've gotten this question all the time. It's because, kids, a lot of them like the challenge and they don't understand. They don't get how things work. Why can't you, and I'm not talking about a pool. The pool is a whole debate. But swimming in the ocean is not a debate. Swimming in the ocean on Shabbat is not allowed because there's a fear that you might build a raft. And in reality, if we're going to be honest, it sounds silly. No one here knows how to collect wood and put it together and build a raft. No one's building a raft. So what does it mean? So one day I had a kid in my office and he was challenging me with it. He's like, Rabbi, come on, it doesn't make any sense. So on one leg I had to answer him. And this was my answer. I don't know if I'm right, but this is my answer. My answer is this. That, first of all, you make sense. But the truth is the rabbi made this law 2,000 years ago where rafts were more normal. And since they made it, we don't change it. I said, but I want to tell you even further. Don't you think that if you went to the beach and the ocean on Shabbat, don't you think it's very likely that you're going to carry some stuff there? Let's assume no eruv, no nothing. Isn't it very likely you're going to carry stuff there? Most people don't go to the beach with nothing on them. Good. If you go to the beach on Shabbat with kids, isn't it very likely that they're going to dig holes in the ground in order to, like, they're going to sit, they're going to be bored, they're going to build, and then they're going to take from those holes, they're going to build castles out of it? Isn't it very likely? Good. Isn't it also very likely that accidentally one of those waves that you don't expect comes and comes your towel? You're going to then go and, like, squeeze the towel off a little bit. Isn't that very likely? Isn't it very likely that today's day and age, if you go and sit out there in the sun the whole time, you're going to put on suntan lotion and put on some cream on you? For sure, you got to protect against the sun. Isn't it very likely that when you come home that afternoon with sand in between your toes, you're going to take a hot shower? In other words, maybe the raft isn't relevant, but maybe 10 other things that are way worse than a raft are. But again, hypothetically, you can't see it. But in reality, that's how the world works. It's almost impossible to go to the ocean and not transgress a sin. It's almost impossible to go and especially get wet and get in the ocean and come out and do all the things that people do. It's almost impossible to not transgress a sin. But again, when you're sitting in your house on a couch in the winter, you're not envisioning that. I'm going to the ocean, I'm coming back, I'm not building a raft. It's ridiculous. But if you understand how the world works, it makes our rabbi's rules make so much sense. I'll give you another example. So I teach in Magen David High School. So I teach a really good 10th grade boys class, Gemara. So after the Super Bowl, Sunday after the Super Bowl, they come in talking about the Super Bowl. So guys are talking, they say, Rabbi, you had to hear, I did boxes, and I won $100. Another kid says, and my friend's father won, I think his wife is in the room, my friend's father won like $3,000 on one of those things. And she's like, it's Rabbi, it was unreal, forget it, we had such a good time. You know what boxes is? Boxes is at the Super Bowl, you choose numbers, 2 numbers. And if the teams in the Super Bowl, the last number of their score at either the quarter, the half, the third quarter, or the end of the game is the same as your numbers, you win money. You understand what I'm saying? So let's say your numbers are 7-3. So if the end of the half, it's 17-13, then you won. Got it? And you win money for the quarter. You win a lot of money if you have it by the half. You have more money for the third quarter. And you win a real lot of money if you have that at the end of the fourth quarter, at the end of the game. If the game ends 27-13, you won a lot of money. Got it? So most people that watch the Super Bowl do boxes. Most people that watch the Super Bowl do boxes. If you have a husband who watches the Super Bowl, you could ask him what's boxes. And then he says, where'd you hear that? Don't tell him. So the kids came back and they said, it was great. I said, let's close the Gemara because I want to tell you how this works. I'm sure it was great that you won your $200. And since your parents are giving you money right now, you're probably going to save it. Until next year's Super Bowl, where you're going to say, last year I won so much money with the boxes. So you're going to take 4 boxes because you have extra money in the account anyhow. And you're going to win one of them. And it's going to be at the end of the game, so you're going to win a lot. And you're going to say, wow, I'm good at this. Like I know the numbers to pick. I know football. I'm good. You're going to graduate high school and you're going to have some friends one night in a basement that are going to be watching NBA games. They're going to say, look, this is a good game. There's the spread, that's how much point, whatever. It's another sports item. The spread, if you take the spread, you can win a lot of money. And I'm going to say, I know what I'm doing with this. I'm going to put down a lot of money. And I'm going to put down, I expect the team to win by 10. And at the end of the game, the guy's going to run across the court and dunk the basketball, and they're only going to win by 8. And I was really right. It just happened, but I was really right. So 2 years later, I'm in college, but I'm earning money, and I'm still living by my parents, so I have extra money. And my friends say, let's just go for a weekend haircut. We're just going, not for a weekend. We're all together. We're away on winter vacation. It's not a big deal. You have extra $500 on you. It's no big deal. No one dies here. And then they start putting in their $500. And all of a sudden, the machines start to run because you won. And you won $3,000. And you spend the whole week, I won. You're telling all your friends. The feeling is so unreal. that the next winter vacation you say to yourself, there's no way I'm not doing that. The boat was fun, the water was cute, eating out was nice, but nothing like that feeling. So you know what? I'm doing it again. And next thing you know, he says, I made more money now. He puts in $2,000, and he's only a 20-year-old kid, but he doesn't tell his parents, and he puts in $2,000, and he breaks even. He's like, okay, I survived. There was one thing went wrong. The guy forgot to tell me something. If I had it right, I would have won $6,000. Now you get married, and you're earning a real living. And one night your friends want to go to AC just together, and you go. And you put down $5,000, and you lose. And you're like, there's no way I'm letting anybody know this. Tell your friends, guys, we're going back in 3 months, and I'm going to make it back. Because I know. I'm going to go during the NCAA tournament, the March Madness basketball. I know basketball in my bones. No one else can pick the teams, but I can. And I'm going to go there, and I'm going to win. I'm going to win it back. I'm not just going to win my money back. And you go back that weekend, and you pick everything right, but you have one game that's depending on, there's some small school that you didn't know about that has a college team that has one player that most people in the nation aren't talking about, and that player scores 30 points, and you lose. And now you're down 20,000. And you're like, there's no way this is going to happen. I must make it back. And you try it again, and you're down 40,000. And your wife says, okay, guys, okay, hon, it's time to buy a house. We're talking about buying a house. You've been putting money away. Let's buy a house. And you tell your wife, no, I can't do it now. We're worried about business is tough, times are tough. And one day your wife swipes the credit card, and she's like, I don't get what's going on. And she does a little investigation, and 2 nights later, you come home, and she says, you're out of my house. I don't want to see you ever again. I want to see you ever again. Leave my house. And you're like, what are you talking about? What happened? She says, what are you talking about? You tell me what you're talking about. How did this happen? I just tried to, the credit card's not there. I checked the accounts. It's empty. What happened? I've been working myself to put away money for us to be able to buy a house, and it's not there. How did it start? With boxes when you're 12 years, 18 years old. This is the way the world works. Things lead to things. And just in case you're not sure, you ever notice how any person without money says, if I make money one day, I'm going to make everybody rich. I'm going to give out so much charity, it's unbelievable. Yet, the people who do make, they give out charity, but they're careful, and you're like, what happened? Why is every guy who doesn't have it talking about how generous he would be, and everybody who does have it, very careful? The answer is because they're hypothetical. Once the reality comes, the experience is completely different. And if all those examples don't resonate, this one will. You ever see a 16-year-old girl talk about what life is going to be like when she gets married? You ever hear her talk about everything is going to be perfect? My daughter's engaged right now. Everything is going to be perfect. I have no personality problems. He has no personality issues. It doesn't matter what I did in school. It doesn't matter everything. Everything is about to become perfect. I'm going to march down the aisle, and that's it. Oh, how about, and they're buying trousseau, and they're buying things on their father's account. They think it's nothing. They think it's just pretty much free. Boxes are coming up in the house every day with smiles on it. Everybody's happy. Daddy's in the room dying, but they're all happy. They got the smiles. And then all of a sudden, and this happened to my daughter the other day, she went to go look for furniture, and she's like, that costs money. Yeah? And then all of a sudden life comes because they can't envision it. They can't see it coming. So what happens is that before the story, they keep saying, it's going to be awesome. And then they walk down that aisle, and all of a sudden they realize the guy's got a personality. Some of it's good, some of it's weird. And now all of a sudden, it's not quite what I expected. And now he's got a mother, and she has opinions, and she's not shy. So now all of a sudden, oh my gosh, he's got things, she's got things. Oh, wow, what's happening? And then he has friends that are funny. Then all of a sudden he does stuff that she didn't know he does. Guys turn us over for shaharit in the morning. You're like, I thought you were religious. Yeah, I'm religious, kind of. I go I go in the winter. I just don't go in the summer. It's too far, the shuls. And then next thing you know, there's kids, and the kids aren't perfect, and the kids don't train perfectly, and they don't do great in school, and then all of a sudden you hear about therapists and gross motor skills and fine motor skills and terms you never heard before, and all of a sudden life is real. Life is real. And no 16-year-old girl in America knows this, because they just can't see that things lead to things. It's better than no, 100% right. 100% right. That's very, very smart. Oh, man. Yes, that's what she's saying. So just don't let them know it's all good. Let them think it's so exciting. I'm getting married. Oh, if you only knew. Okay. But it's true. I even got a personal example just now. I left school and had it perfectly planned. I'm going to get here at 10:30, and at 10:22, I'm going to end class. So I'm going to have everything ready to go. I'm going to run right out of the class. I'm not going to code today. I'm going to run right out of the classroom, right to my car. It's perfect, the perfect spot, Bay Parkway, right there. I'm going to come straight down here at 10:30. Great. What I didn't anticipate is some guy is going to double park right in front of my car and not be there. Really, just sitting there. I'm ringing, I'm honking. And you know what happens? That's life. It happened to me, but it happens to all of us in a different place, at a different time. You don't anticipate it. Sure enough, I had to Uber because my car's still stuck. Some guy, really is, some guy with some truck is just there. But hazard lights, apparently like it's mutar to do whatever you want when the hazards are on. So, but that's the way the world works. Yosef HaSadik, when he was in the house of Potiphar and alone with Potiphar's wife, it says he ran out and left his coat in her hands. So the Ramban asks, why you leave the coat? Grab the coat. He's definitely stronger than she is. Grab the coat. The answer is Yosef understood, I'm right now in a vulnerable state. If I stay here and we go back and forth on the coat, I don't know what will happen. I'm out. I'm out. Because the smartest thing in the world is someone who knows that things lead to things. I'll give you another example. I'll give you a million examples, but they're all real. I don't know if anyone here has messy people in your house.
Oh my God.
Anyone here has messy people in your house? Good. So I want to tell you something that messy people don't know. You walk into a messy person's room and you tell them, clean it up. Could be your husband even. Clean it up. So they say, no problem, they clean it up. And what they do is, they have a pile over here on this cell, another pile over there, another pile in the corner. It's clean. It is pretty clean. Neat people know this, that things lead to things. Because now they need something from the pile, and the pile ends up all over here. Then they need something from that pile, and ends up over there. And then they need something from that pile, and ends up, and before you know it, 2 or 3 moves happen, and the whole thing's a wreck. The intelligent people know how to stop before it starts. This is what the rabbis of the Mishnah are saying. Be careful from the smallest sin. Because the first time your son curses is a good indication that there are thousands to follow. And therefore, and run away from that small sin, because one averah makes you now a person who does it once, leads you to one step closer to the person who does it twice, who leads you one step closer to the person who does it 5 times, who leads you closer to the person who does it. Because if I'm in the state of mitzvah, I'm one step closer to doing another one. When I'm in the state of averah, I'm one step closer to doing another one. Sheschar mitzvah, the reward of a mitzvah, is being now in the state of good. Because when I'm in the state of good, I'm inspired to do another thing that's good. And when I'm in that state of good, I'm inspired to do another thing that's good. And when I'm in, but schar averah, the reward of an averah is another averah. Because once I'm in that mode, I'm another step closer to doing that again. Years ago, I was in Kollel. I remember I was in my father's shul. And someone came over to me and said, why are rabbis flipping out, this is maybe 15 years ago, about the internet? It's a wonderful thing. We're emailing each other, we're communicating, we're interacting with one another. What are they talking about? Fast forward 15 years later, and the whole country is trying to figure out what to do with this. The whole country. There's nobody who has this phone who isn't figuring out, how do I control it? Because none of us anticipated that things lead to things. None of us anticipated that one day it's going to be more. Did you ever notice that you read an article online, and then at the bottom of the article there's like random other articles there? What are you doing here? The answer is they're setting you up. Because you're going to click that, and then there's going to be something else over there, and you can easily grab your phone for 5 minutes And next thing you know, it's 45 minutes later. And the time didn't even happen. Saw a couple of videos, commented on a few posts. Hey, Rabbi Haber's at the well. You look at that, you say it to a few people, you comment on that little social media thing, and before you know it, you're completely consumed. Our rabbis were so smart. Our rabbis are so powerful that we're so lucky to have a religion that anticipates. We're so lucky to be a part of a Torah where Hashem says, I'm going to make this easy for you. You know how I'm going to make it easy for you? I'm going to tell you on Shabbat, for example, don't even touch the phone. Because if you touch it, you're going to use it. And if you use it, you're going to be consumed by it. So I'm going to tell you, you know what, I want you to stay safe. Never be alone in a room with someone you shouldn't be alone with. Don't ever do it. Even when nothing could ever happen. Don't do it. So that this way, you're safe. So I'm going to make the discipline so much easier for you than it needs to be. Because once you're at the moment, it's impossible. Don't tell me you're going to be at the beach and you're going to be filthy. You're going to come home and not take a hot shower. It's not happening. You're at the moment, you have your phone in your hand, and you see that someone texted you and someone who you hate, and they texted you, so now you don't know what they're saying. You're for sure going to click on it Shabbat. There's no way you're not going to. There's no way once you're in the moment, you're not stopping. So our rabbis, with their great wisdom, say, I'm going to hold you back from the moment. Because at that point, it's much easier. It's much easier to walk out of the store and say, I'm not coming back when I don't want anything in there. I don't know what happens when it gets vulnerable. I'm not vulnerable now. So you're stopping me early. It's so awesome. You know, they say, and I'm going to conclude with this little thought. No matter what, people endure pain. It's either the pain of the struggle to build or the pain of regret. Either the pain of the struggle to build, or if you don't have the discipline in the beginning, you go down that road and now you have to live with the regret. If a kid was smart enough to say, you know what, I could enjoy the Super Bowl without putting any money down. If a kid was smart enough to be able to do that in the beginning, if a kid was able, and it might be a little bit of a struggle, he'll be so much happier when one day he's buying his house and the money is still there. Because the pain of regret, when that guy comes home and the wife kicks him out of the house and says, I don't really even want to stay with you anymore, that pain is so much greater. The struggle in the beginning is so worth it. Because the pain at the end is so much worse. So don't allow yourself to go down that road. Don't allow your family to go down that road. Understand where things are leading to. Understand that if he's saying this now, he's going to say that then. Understand that if he's doing this now, if he's oversleeping now, if he's saying those things now, if he's obnoxious now, it's going to get worse. Because that's the way the world works. And God, in his beauty, gave us restrictions. Because the restrictions are what make our life so awesome. God didn't say no to work on Shabbat. God said yes to rest. God didn't say no to unkosher foods. God said yes to putting inside of yourself the things that your body should have and needs. God didn't say no to laws of marriage and purity. God said yes to having excitement every year of your marriage for 100 years. God doesn't say no to things. He says yes to beautiful things. He doesn't say no to me sleeping in the morning. He says yes to me waking up and feeling gratitude and talking to him. That's what the world is. Hashem gave us restrictions because he wants life to be beautiful. And as you get older, you realize Shabbat, the beauty of Shabbat is not just Friday night dinner. The beauty of Shabbat is what I can't do. There's nothing better than the fact that whether I like it or not, Friday night is coming and I can't touch my phone and can't touch my lights and I can't prepare food and I can't do anything, and it's so frozen and it's so perfect because I love being frozen in time. I love having 25 hours that I'm in a zone that you can't touch me and you can't. I love that. Hashem's world is beautiful. Hashem's restrictions are awesome. Because Hashem and his rabbis teach us this one simple but powerful lesson. The words are so simple, but the lesson is so important. There's nothing stronger and more important than having discipline. If you love yourself, you have self-discipline. Because either you're going to deal with the pain at the beginning or the pain and the regret at the end. Because simply put, things lead to things. Thank you.